Good morning, my dear friends. I am Dr.M.H.Annaiah, and in today's session I am going to teach you the procedure that is being followed to design a pair of spur gears. There are actually two cases. One is when the diameters of the gears are known, and the other one is when the diameters are not known. So, in today's session I have taken up this problem, the procedure that is followed to design a pair of gears when the diameters of the gears are known. Friends, here basically you know very well that spur gears are the gears used to transmit power between two or more parallel shafts. So, what do you mean by designing a pair of gears? Here, when we say design of gears, it means to transmit a given power. You will have to find out right from the selection of the material till the dimensions required to sustain and to transmit the required torque at a given speed ratio or a transmission ratio. So, basically the design procedure involves around 4 important steps. So, friends, by following the procedure I am going to explain today, I am very sure you will be able to solve any problem whenever the diameters of the gears are known or the center distance between the gear shafts is given to you. So, here friends, the first step I am going to take up is the selection of the material, the most important part in the design of spur gear. Here friends, when you go through any of the books on machine design, that is design data handbook, you will have a lot of information under each chapter connected with that design. So, here if you go through the machine design data handbook on spur gears, the table will give you about different materials that are used in the process of selection of the material. Say here, when I say the materials are given, you will have a tabular column like this, wherein in the first column they will give you the material that is being used for the spur gears and also the allowable static stress denoted by sigma naught, that will be in so many Newton per mm square or MPa. So, by having these different materials, if you go through the data handbook, there will be at least not less than 20 material under this particular material column, and they will give you the corresponding value of sigma naught, that is the permissible static stress for that material. Friends, when I say material, it could be a cast iron, a special grade cast iron, ordinary cast iron, a full steel, an alloy steel, ACI steel, and so on and so forth. Here, whenever you are selecting a material as a designer, you have two choices. The first choice is you can select the same material for both gear and pinion. That is, say a high grade cast iron which has got the sigma naught value equal to 103 Newton per mm square, or you can take different materials, that is a high grade steel for the pinion and high grade cast iron for the gear. But one thing is very sure, and that you should remember, that whenever the selection is made from the table and the choice is given to you, and if you are selecting two different materials, the material selected for the pinion should have higher value of sigma naught, the allowable static stress, compared to that of the gear. For example, say material 1, it has got a sigma naught value of 103 Newton per mm square. There is another material 2 which has got 190 Newton per mm square as the sigma naught value. And now, as a designer, you have to select this material for the pinion and this for the gear. So, this is for the pinion and this is for the gear. So, whenever the material is selected from the chart or from the table, we should always select a stronger material for the pinion compared to that of the gear. So, this is a very important step, and that is the first step, that is selection of material. Friends, after selecting the material for the gear and pinion, I told you before, it could be same or it could be different. Now, the second step you follow is to decide the weaker member of gear pair. That means, out of these two materials, which is the weaker member and on which the design is to be based. Friends, remember very well, and this is a common step that is being followed for spur gear, helical gear, bevel gear, etc. That is, whenever the material selected for the pinion and gear are the same, pinion is the weaker member and the design is based on pinion. So, remember, this is applicable for spur gear, bevel gear, helical gear, etc. And say we have selected two different materials for the gear and pinion. When that is the case, you will have to have a tabular column as shown below, in which I am going to plot the values like this. Suppose say the material or the member, I can say the member, one is the pinion, the other is the gear. Say the value of sigma naught. So, I am not taking any numerical value here, simply I will put this as x, and that of for the gear is y. These are the values selected from the table, and you have the term called y, that is called the Lewis form factor. Y is called Lewis form factor, and it is a factor which depends on the tooth profile that is used. It could be 14.5 degrees involute profile or 20 degrees involute profile. So, then I am going to have the product of these two, sigma naught into y, then a remark column. Friends, remember, again this is going to be a common step for all the gears. So, suppose the pinion has got a value x and y, I told you, is the Lewis form factor. It will have values like this: y is equal to 0.124 minus 0.684 by z. It is the formula used for spur gears of 14.5 degrees involute profile. So, where the z stands for the number of teeth. If you are finding out y for the pinion, I will call it as y1 and this will become z1. If you are finding out for the gear, this is y2, same formula, 0.124 minus 0.684 by z2. So, here the z1 and z2 can be assumed, that is, say z1 is 16 if you assume, and this could be 16 multiplied by the transmission ratio, say 4. If it is 5, 16 into 5. If it is 6, 16 into 6. This way we are going to find out these values y1 and y2. Say I get some value y1 here, I get a value y2 here. Suppose say the product of these two is x y1. Suppose say this is 98.2 and this for the gear is 102 for 102.3. So, these are the values you have got, say. We have not taken any numerical value, it is only for the purpose of explanation. I am just following these values. Friends, then you have a remark column. You see here, the pinion has got a product of sigma naught into y equal to 98.2, whereas the gear has got 102.3. That means whichever the member has got a smaller value of this product sigma naught into y will decide the weaker member. So, very obviously in this example I have cited, pinion is the weaker member. So, we have to make a statement, when that is weaker, this is going to be a stronger material. So, you have to write just below this that since sigma naught into y for the pinion is smaller than that of the gear, pinion is the weaker member and the design is based on the pinion. That statement we have to record it, because every step in the examination carries marks. Friends, we have learned the procedure for the selection of material and how to decide the weaker member of the gear pair. Now friends, let us move on to the third and the most important step in the design of any gear. That is the third step, step number 3 is the procedure followed to find module, and this module is denoted by M. Module, what is module and how it is related to the number of teeth and the diameter? Friends, in general, this diameter of either pinion or gear is related to the module by this formula D is equal to M into Z. Friends, here if you want to find out the diameter of pinion, this is going to be D1, this is going to be Z1. So, D1 is equal to MZ1. Likewise, for the gear, we have got D2 is equal to MZ2, where Z1 and Z2 are the number of teeth and gear and pinion. D1 and D2 are the pitch circle diameters of gear and pinion, and this value of module will be same. Remember friends, in any of these gears, Spur, bevel, helical, whatever it may be, the module will not change. It is going to be same for both gear and pinion. Say friends, this particular step in the design procedure carries maximum mark. So, to find out this module, we have got different formulae, and the one that is being used in common is the Lewis equation. That is a modified form, is given by the formula small m module is equal to Ft divided by sigma naught into Cv into B into Y into pi. So, this particular formula is available in the data handbook, and from this we are going to evaluate what is the value of the module M. Friends, let us see in this first case of problem where the diameter is given, how to apply the formula and evaluate the value of M. Friends, let us check these one by one. Here this value M is module, this is module. Our aim is to find out this, and hence this is, we'll take it as a question mark. This is to be found out. Then Ft is the tangential force on the gear, tangential load or tangential force on the gear is given by the torque divided by the radius. So, when I say the torque and radius, this radius refers to the radius of the weaker member, and this is multiplied by Cs, which is called the service factor. Here, what is this Mt? Mt is the torque transmitted by the gear pair. So, this torque Mt is given by 9550 into N, the power transmitted in kilowatts divided by the RPM. Here, this is, I am going to multiply by 10 to the power of 3 to convert this torque in terms of Newton millimeter. So, here friends, this N stands for the speed in RPM and capital N stands for the power that is being transmitted by the gear pair. Here, in a problem, if pinion is the weaker member, we should take the speed of the pinion. If gear is the weaker member, we should take the speed of the gear. And these are radius of the weaker member. R is equal to diameter by 2, and if pinion is weaker, this is d1 by 2. So, radius is equal to diameter by 2. So, in this problem, as I told you before, the diameter of the gear and pinion are known. So, this diameter, suppose say pinion has got a diameter 80 mm, that is by 2, I can say 40 millimeter. I have taken this as an example. The diameter is equal to 80 mm, the radius is equal to half of that. I have taken pinion as the weaker member. So, this R is equal to d by 2, d1 by 2 for pinion. Now, friends, we have kept this as a constant, an unknown value. This is Ft, Mt we know, R we know, Cs is the service factor. Friends, this service factor is a factor that is used to design for safety, and here generally its value is 1.25 for light loads, 1.5 to 1.75 for medium loads, and if it is heavy load, it is going to be 1.75 to 2. So, if nothing is specified in the problem, you can take it as medium load or medium shock and the value of 1.5. Friends, with this you will be able to find out, because you know this Mt, power transmitted will be given to you and speed is known to you. So, you know this value, service factor, depending on the situation you will be taking this value, and hence you are going to get the value of these so many newtons. So, I will put a tick mark, that is the value of Ft we have calculated, that works out to some value. It could be 60 Newton, 80 Newton, etc., depending on the torque. Now, friends, after getting this value, let us see what is this. Sigma naught is there. What is sigma naught? We have two values. One is sigma naught of the pinion, other is the sigma naught of the gear. So, which has to be taken in this formula? All these refer to for the weaker member only. So, here this sigma naught of the weaker member, so that already we have selected from the table, I know this value. Then comes CV. CV is called velocity factor, and in some of the data handbooks of different authors, it is also represented by kV. So, you need not bother, it is only a convention. CV or kV is a velocity factor, and as the name indicates, this depends on velocity, that is the linear velocity. For example, if you take this pinion, velocity Vm is pi d1 n1 by 60, so many meter per second. Similarly, if you take the gear, it is pi d2 n2 by 60. Remember, this Vm is pi d1 n1 is equal to pi d2 by n2. So, you can calculate any of these, you will be getting so many meter per second. So, here friends, I know the diameter, I know the speed, so you will be able to calculate this. So, once you have this velocity calculated, then you have different formulae in the data handbook to find out the value of CV. So, generally up to 12.5 meter per second, the Barth's formula says CV is equal to 4.5 divided by 4.5 plus Vm. So, this is valid for Vm up to 12.5 meter per second. Similarly, if it exceeds that, say you have a higher value more than 20, this is going to be 5.55 divided by 5.55 plus root of Vm. All these are available in the data handbook. This is for velocity greater than 20 meter per second, and you have the values even for the smaller values of this. Friends, remember, whenever the diameters are known, you can find out the velocity and hence CV. So, in this formula, I will just put a tick mark on this to show that this can be calculated. The velocity depending on the speed ratio, you will get the value. Then comes B. What is B? B is called the phase width of gear. This is the phase width of gear. Friends, remember, the phase width of gear and that of the pinion will both be same. So, what is the phase width? Suppose if you take a spur gear tooth, and this is going to represent the phase width B of the spur gear. And here, friends, this phase width of the gear and that of the pinion, both of them will be same, and that will have a value given by the formula B is equal to 3 pi m to 4 times pi m, where m is the module. So, generally we take an average value of 3.5 pi m, that is approximately works out to 10 times module. 10 m is 10 times module. So, this B will be in terms of module. Friends, Y. This Y is the Lewis form factor, and remember, whenever the diameters are known in a spur gear problem or the center distance between the shafts is known, then Y is to be retained as Y. So, I am going to keep it as Y, and for this I will take a value 3.5 pi m, and this pi is a constant we know very well. So, in this formula, friends, let us see what are the values known and to what form it finally turns out to. Friends, m is module, we do not know the value. Then this Ft, I told you, you have calculated that Ft since the diameter is known to us. Sigma naught is a value you have selected in the very first step known to you. Cv can be calculated because the diameters are known. When dia is known, velocity can be calculated, and hence this is calculated. And then this B, I am going to take it as 3.5 times pi module into Y. Y is Y, this pi is a known quantity. Friends, you can see here, if you cross multiply, you are going to finally arrive at a value m square. See, m in the denominator here, m square into y. All the parameters are known. Say you are going to get a value, say 2.65. Say it is not an exact value, you are getting this value as 2.65 is a quantity. This is millimeter and this is number. So, just keep it as a number. M square y is equal to 2.65. I will write down again, m square y is equal to 2.65. It is a permissible value or a design value. So, this is permissible value. So, and this is the equation based on which you are going to find out the module. Friends, how to arrive at the module now? And if you go through the design data handbook, there is mechanical machine design data handbook, under this Spur gear, you will find a big table which gives you the module in millimeter, module M, and it starts from 0.05 mm and goes up to a maximum of 100 mm. So, these are the standard values available, 0.05 mm to 100 millimeter. And here you friends, to find out the module, you can have a choice of selecting any one standard value. And once again you should remember here, among these values given, some of these values are put inside the bracket. For example, a module like 2.25, 2.75, this is all put in bracket. That means the values of the module which are put inside the bracket are not preferred. So, after maybe you got this 3, then goes 4 millimeter, 5, 15, 20 like that. So, lot of values are there. And here you have the choice to try with any one of these values. And generally friends, I try with a module 5 millimeter. So, I will say trial number 1. This trial I am making to find out the value of module. Trial 1, say m is equal to 5 mm. It is a standard value and I have selected from the table, say. It is a standard value, no doubt. So, here after finding this value m, after selection, let us find out y. Y is Lewis form factor. I told you in this problem pinion is weaker member. So, d1 is equal to mz1. At the beginning of the session I told you this diameter is known in this problem as 80 mm. So, this I have taken as 5 mm, this is z1. So, this z1 works out to 16 teeth. So, the pinion will have 16 teeth. Why I am doing all this? Just to find out y, because you know very well this y depends on the number of teeth on the member and the profile. So, if I am using this 14.5 degrees involute profile, then y1 means y for the pinion is 0.124 minus 0.684 by z1, which is 16 here. You get a value, say some value 0.1108, some value. See, I am not calculating this value, it is only the procedure that is being followed. I am explaining you now. So, friends, I got a value of 0.1108 and friends, I am going to substitute in this formula. So, this m I have taken as 5 square into 0.1108, say this works out to 2.62. So, the value permissible is 2.65 and this value is a induced value. So, induced value. Friends, you know in machine design that the induced value can be equal to the permissible value or it could be lesser than that and it can never be greater than the permissible value. So, in this problem we find that the permissible value is 2.65 whereas the induced value is 2.62. That means the induced value is lesser than the permissible value and hence the design is saved. For example, in that case what you can do? You can take module is equal to 5 millimeter. Now friends, suppose this works out to a value like 2.77. That means the induced value is 2.77 whereas the permissible value is only 2.65 and hence the design is not saved. So, in that case you will have to reduce the value. So, instead of taking 5 millimeter, you may have to try with a smaller value like 4 millimeter. Suppose say in this problem, say I have got a value m square by 2.65 and that is lesser than 2.62, say that is the permissible value, this is the induced value. And you can make a small statement here that m square y induced is lesser than m square y permissible. So, whenever this is the case, we can immediately say that the design is safe, and you can adopt the module m equal to 5 millimeter. Friends, this particular step, as I told you in the beginning, is a very important step and this generally carries the maximum mark in the 4 steps that is being followed. Friends, we have got the value of the module. See, once you know this module M as 5 millimeter, you can find out the face width of the gear. B is equal to 3.5 pi into 5. You get a value, and then you get the addendum of the gear is equal to module is equal to 5 mm, and then the dedendum of the gear is 1.25 module. So 1.25 multiplied by 5. Then the tooth thickness, S is equal to the tooth thickness. So this is the tooth width and this is the tooth thickness, and that is given by pi times module by 2. So what is this tooth thickness? I will show you. So suppose this is the gear you have got, spur gear, and this is the line of contact. This is called the tooth thickness, S, which is equal to pi m by 2. So you have to record these values, very important values that are obtained from step number 3. Friends, till now we have learnt how to select the material in the first step. Second step, I taught you how to decide which is the weaker member of the gear pair. And in the third step, we have learnt how to obtain the module of the gears. And now in the next step, step number 4, which is also equally important as step number 3, we are going to find out, or we are going to check for wear and dynamic load. We have to have a check for wear and dynamic load. The wear load is represented by Fw and the dynamic load by Fd. And by finding out these two, we will be able to find out what is the hardness to which the gear and the pinion are to be hardened. Friends, we have the formula Fw is given by d1 bqk, which is greater than or equal to Ft. Fw should be greater than equal to Fd. So let us find out these two quantities and find out the value of k. What are these terms, friends? If I take up this Fw, that is equal to d1 bq k. Let us say what are these? Friends, I told you, I have taken the example where this d1 is the diameter of the pinion. Say it is given as 80 mm. B is equal to face width 3.5 times pi into module, which is 5. And this q is called a ratio factor. Ratio factor. This ratio factor is given by the formula 2d2 divided by d2 plus d1, which is equal to 2z2 divided by z2 plus z1, or 2 times n1 divided by n1 plus n2. So if you know the diameters, you can use this formula. If you know the number of teeth, use this formula. In this problem, we know the diameters, so I can straight height use this to get the value. So 2 into what is the d2? I told you d2 is the diameter of the gear. That is, if you know the transmission ratio, so d2 will be d1 into transmission ratio. Say the transmission ratio is 4 and d1 is given as 80. That's the value divided by 4 into 80 plus this is d1 is 80. So it works out approximately into 1.5, approximately 1.5, 1.6 like that. This K is called the load stress factor, and this has to be obtained. So finally, friends, let me have a substitution of this value. So 80 into B we know Q is 1.6 approximately and K is K. That is, you are going to obtain this Fw in terms of K. This will be in the terms of Newton. The value obtained is a load and hence it will be in terms of Newton. Friends, we have found out this FW in terms of K. K is the load stress factor which is available in the data handbook, and this FD, if I am able to find out, we can just equate these to get the value of K. So, let us see how to find out this FD. Friend, FD is called the dynamic factor or the dynamic load, dynamic load, and is given by the formula FT plus 21V or Vm into Ft plus Bc divided by 21 Vm plus square root of Ft plus Bc. This is the formula. This is the tangential load and this is the incremental load. Friends, here we know this Ft already. Velocity Vm, I told you how to find out, that is known to us. The value of B is known to us because B is 3.5 pi m, and this value of C, the constant, is obtained from the data handbook based on the velocity. You will be able to get this value, and once you know all these, you are going to get a numerical value, so many Newton for this member, so many Newtons. So, you have this value Fd and Fd. Friends, say after calculating the wear load and the dynamic load, I am going to equate them, that is Fw is greater than or equal to Fd, Fw is d1 bqk greater than or equal to Fd. So, d1 is 80 we have taken, B is 3.5 times pi m, pi into 5 because module you have calculated, Q is 1.6, K is K, an unknown value to be found out, Fd we have calculated. So, by equating these two, you will be able to get K. K value is obtained. So, load is called, K is called load stress factor. So, friends, after obtaining this value of K, there is a table in the data handbook which will give you to what hardness the gear and pinion are to be hardened. So, I will just write down a sample of this. So, you have got here BHN because that Brinell hardness number for the pinion and that for the gear, and we have this value of K both for 14.5 degrees profile and also 20 degrees pressure angle. So, the values are given. So, we have got a value, friends, you know very well, say I have got a value the value of K as 0.0122. So, we have to go to this value of K under this table. Suppose say it is 0.10122. Once you have this value of K, move on to the left hand side. Maybe you will have here the values says 500 BHN, 500 BHN. So, after getting the value of K, refer to this table under this column 14.5 degrees involute profile corresponding to this value of K, move on to the left hand and find out what are the hardness